Revelation 1387. From the 21st of April 1940. Entrance to Eternity. Many levels. Kingdom of light, darkness. Every human being must pass the gate to eternity. And likewise every being, which has once started the walk on earth, must also go through the embodiment as a human being. Thus are all existence destined to discard the earthly cover and to pass without a physical body into the kingdom on the other side. But how diverse can this transition from the earthly realm into the eternal realm be? This transition does not always mean redemption for the being, that is liberation from all fetters, although all earthly bodily heaviness falls off him. However, the fetters he now feels can be far more burdensome than the earthly shell ever was. But also a tremendously free, happiness-inducing state can replace the previous earthly life, and the being can be relieved of all torments, all fetters and all sufferings. For example, a person living in poverty on earth can expect the most glorious fate in the hereafter, and nothing reminds him of his earthly condition, because his life now is light, freedom and unspeakable happiness. Again, many a person exchanges an earthly life of comfort, pleasures and physical enjoyment, for a miserable existence in the hereafter, where he lacks everything that could make his present life bearable. And this exchange is unspeakably bitter for the being, provided that it realizes its own guilt and recognizes its unused earthly life as well as the previous, endlessly long walk on earth. For now the memories of the many previous stages which it has lived through, emerge in him, and the more he becomes aware of this, the more agonizing is its state, while the liberated being likewise sees this spiritual development and praises and glorifies God above all, because of his goodness and care, which made its final liberation possible. Thus, the transition into the kingdom of the other world will make many spiritual stages recognizable. The beings who awaken in radiant fullness of light will be only few, but the dark figures indescribably many, and their awakening will be terrible for them. Because their stay is just as dark and lightless as their state of soul, they go into those spheres which correspond to their state of maturity. They have never desired light during their walk on earth, and they have now been granted the fate which they aspired to on earth. They are not unjustly considered, but receive what they asked for. They are in an environment that fully fulfills what their spiritual state claims. Accordingly, blessed are those who already desired the light on earth, because it shines for them in all fullness and power. The spirit's striving on earth now has an effect in the hereafter, for man has previously accumulated wealth, which now brings about his blissful state. Now there is no difference anymore between the beings, but light intensity. But woe to the beings who lack the light, who have never desired it and also now still flee. Oppression, sadness, indignation and darkness is their lot, and this can also not be changed at will, as long as the desire for light does not become active in the being. The being must suffer, that is, it lacks something, although its will does not desire it. It feels the agonies of the darkness and yet does not seek to escape from it, because this darkness inhibits at the same time also the will, and this from own guilt. Only the desire for light lets the will become active, but it is rare for a being in the hereafter to ask for the light it has rejected on earth. It is a regrettable thing that the attitude of the human being on earth rarely changes in the hereafter, that the being often remains in the same rejection for an unimaginably long time, and that it cannot be led to cognition with force. But that the beings now also do not have the possibility to see spiritually maturely, because they cannot bear its fullness of light in their imperfect state. That therefore they can again be given no visible proof which could change their wrong attitude. Because such a proof would again only judge them, that is, lead them to realization with compulsion. In every state, no matter how lightless it is, the being must try to free itself, it must want to become free, and only then he will feel light around himself. But all light-filled ones see and recognize the glory of God. They see things which they did not know before, they see the connection of all creation, they stand in knowledge and is therefore also close to God. Because God is the light which enlightens all these beings. And so the entrance to life on the other side is always a separation of light and darkness. A separation of the beings who desired God and those who only knew the world and its goods. The former consciously desired the light, the latter the prince of darkness, and thus to each will be given during his walk on earth what he desires. Amen.